To say this season has been a disappointment for Rangers would be putting it lightly. Knocked out of both domestic cup competitions, miles off the pace in the league behind arch-rival Celtic, and most recently dumped out of the Europa League. It's been a campaign that's fallen apart at the seams. Expectations were sky high, but the reality has been a harsh one. If there's to be any hope of getting back to the top next season, serious change is needed, and it needs to happen now. Thankfully, there are signs that the rebuild has already begun, with Rangers reportedly closing in on their first major deal even before the summer transfer window officially opens. Supporters have been desperate for some sort of clarity, some sense of direction, and what's emerging behind the scenes at Ibrox could finally provide just that. There's been growing talk of significant changes at the club, not just on the pitch but across the entire football structure, and recent developments suggest that the board is ready to take bold action. From transfer moves to boardroom shifts, there's a lot going on, and if you're a Rangers fan, you'll want to pay close attention to what's coming. Let's start with the big one. Rangers are closing in on a key figure to lead the club's football operations, and it's a name with real pedigree. Kevin Thelwell, Everton's outgoing director of football, has emerged as the frontrunner for the newly revived role of sporting director at Ibrox. His track record across several clubs, including Wolverhampton Wanderers, Derby County, and New York Red Bulls, speaks for itself. And while his time at Everton has been nothing short of chaotic, with constant managerial changes and financial restrictions biting hard, Thelwell managed to steer the ship with some smart financial moves. Under his guidance, Everton raked in over £220 million in transfer income while keeping spending to a relatively modest £145 million, a rare feat in today's Premier League madness. The timing of Thelwell's potential appointment couldn't be more important. Since Ross Wilson left the role back in April of last year, Rangers have been without a sporting director. That gap in leadership has been glaring, especially during a period marked by inconsistency on the pitch and turbulence in the dugout. 3 different managers have taken charge since 2022, and the club has managed just 1 league title in the past 14 seasons, a statistic that no one associated with Rangers wants to hear. Bringing in an experienced operator like Thelwell could provide the structure and vision that's been sorely lacking. Sources close to the club have confirmed that Thelwell has already met with top figures at Rangers and has even toured the facilities in Glasgow. Clear signs that discussions are well advanced. It's believed that CEO James Bisgrove and Chairman John Bennett are keen to have someone with a strong footballing background to unify all departments and implement a cohesive long-term strategy. Thelwell ticks all the boxes. He's handled pressure work with limited budgets and knows how to build from the ground up. That's exactly what Rangers need right now, but the shakeup doesn't stop there. There's also talk of sweeping changes at ownership level with American investors, including the powerful 49ers Enterprises Group, inching closer to gaining a controlling stake at Ibrox. The 49ers Group, who already own Leeds United and were recently celebrating promotion back to the Premier League, bring with them the financial muscle and business acumen that could launch Rangers into a new era. It's no longer just about results on the pitch. This is about modernizing the entire infrastructure of the club, from academy development to transfer policy and commercial growth. With the promise of fresh investment, the recruitment drive is expected to ramp up fast. Rangers can't afford to waste time. And one name being heavily linked with a move to the club is none other than Lawrence Shankland. The Hearts striker, a seasoned goal scorer in the Scottish game, could be available on a free transfer this summer. At 29 years old, he's hardly one for the future, but with experience and a keen eye for goal, he might just be the kind of player who could bolster the squad without breaking the bank. Former Rangers man Andy Halliday has gone as far as to call the potential signing a no-brainer, especially considering the financial constraints the club is still navigating. It's true that Shankland hasn't hit the same heights this season as he did in the past 2, where he notched up an impressive tally of 31 and 28 goals respectively. But his track record shows he knows where the net is, and in a more competitive environment with better service, there's every chance he could rediscover that form. His current contract with Hearts is winding down, and with no renewal in sight, he'll be a free agent in a matter of weeks. For a club trying to keep costs down but still aiming for silverware, that kind of opportunity can't be ignored. This is all happening in the context of a larger, more strategic rebuild. Rangers are not just looking for short-term fixes, they're finally acting like a club with a long-term plan. The Root and Branch review launched earlier this year made it clear success will only return if the club has strong football leadership, financial prudence, and a unified direction from top to bottom. That means smart appointments, smarter recruitment, and a clear identity, both in how the team plays and how the club operates. Of course, it's one thing to plan and another to execute. The coming months will be crucial, not just in shaping the squad, but in determining what kind of club Rangers want to be moving forward. Will they become a modern football powerhouse with a defined vision, or will they remain stuck in the cycle of short-term gambles and reactionary decisions? For now, all eyes are on what happens next with Thelwell. If he's brought in, it could be the start of something much bigger. His appointment would signal a serious intent to rebuild not just the team, but the entire footballers operation. And with ownership changes looming, new players on the horizon, the summer ahead might just be one of the most important in Rangers' recent history. While the potential arrival of Kevin Thelwell is making headlines behind the scenes on the pitch and in the technical area, questions are still swirling around who will be tasked with leading this Rangers side into the new season. The managerial merry-go-round at Ibrox in recent years has done little to bring consistency or stability, and the next appointment, whenever it comes, must be one that signals direction, not just desperation. That brings us to another name that's been doing the rounds lately, Russell Martin. The former Rangers defender and current free agent manager has reportedly caught the attention of more than one club, including Leicester City, who are themselves dealing with the fallout of a disastrous campaign. Martin, who was dismissed by Southampton earlier this season, had been credited with bringing a fluid, possession-based style of football that ultimately took the Saints back into the Premier League. But after their swift return to the Championship, his reputation has taken a knock, though perhaps not one that's entirely fair, considering the scale of the challenge he faced with a squad that wasn't ready for top-flight survival. What makes Martin's name particularly intriguing in the Rangers context is not just his playing past at the club, but the kind of footballing identity he tries to instill. There's a hunger among fans for something different, a style that moves away from reactive defensive-minded setups and embraces controlled tempo and attacking intent. Martin's methods might not have worked out perfectly at Southampton, but he's shown he has the courage to stick to his principles. Something Rangers have lacked in their managerial appointments lately. Whether the club would seriously consider him as the next permanent boss remains unclear, but the speculation speaks to the broader uncertainty still hanging over the dugout. Martin himself hasn't shied away from speaking about the future. When asked recently on television where he sees himself managing next, he was honest. He admitted that another crack at the Premier League might not be in the immediate cards, and that many managers in his position, those promoted from the Championship, rarely get a second chance unless they truly break through. He even hinted at being open to working abroad. But his inclusion in the discussion about Rangers shows just how wide the net is being cast in the search for the right person to take the club forward. As Rangers begin preparing for life under new leadership, both on and off the pitch, there's also a renewed focus on the wage structure and squad composition. Years of heavy spending have caught up with the club, and recent attempts to trim the wage bill have been necessary, if not always popular. That's where players like Shankland come into the picture. Players who offer value for money, who can contribute immediately, and who understand the intensity of the Scottish game. There's no denying that Ibrox needs quality reinforcements. But gone are the days of scattergun signings. Every move from here on out has to serve the greater purpose, building a side that can challenge consistently, not just in one-off cup runs or brief title pushes. The pressure on the board is immense. Rangers fans are some of the most passionate in the world, and they expect, rightly, that their club should be competing for honours every season. Seeing Celtic rack up titles while Rangers struggle to find continuity has been a bitter pill to swallow. That's why this summer feels different. But there's an understanding that this isn't just another transfer window, it's a defining period for the next chapter of the club. That brings us back to the broader context of ownership. With the 49ers Enterprises Group edging closer to finalizing their investment and figures like American businessman Andrew Kavanagh involved, there's a tangible sense that the financial landscape could be shifting. These are not people who invest passively. Their record with Leeds United shows a willingness to be involved, to bring in expertise, and to demand results. If they do gain a controlling stake at Rangers, supporters will expect them to back that ambition with proper planning and resources. The days of throwing money at problems must be left behind. This needs to be about infrastructure, scouting networks, development paths, and a unified culture, not short-term fixes and panic buys. Rangers in many ways are standing at a crossroads. On one side is the risk of continuing down a path that has yielded flashes of glory but ultimately fallen short of establishing dominance. On the other is the opportunity to embrace a more modern, methodical approach, one that mirrors the successes of other well-run clubs across Europe. Thelwell, with his experience navigating financial turmoil and building sustainable football projects, might just be the man to set that course. But his success, if appointed, will depend on the people around him, from the manager to the recruitment team to the board itself. It's a massive summer ahead. Every decision from this point forward matters. Will Rangers back up their ambition? With action, will they move decisively in the market, not just with signings, but with the right leadership appointments? Will they finally embrace the idea of a long-term vision instead of just reacting to what their rivals are doing? These are the questions supporters are asking, and rightly so. Because this club, with its history, its fan base, its stature, deserves better than inconsistency. It deserves a project it can believe in. The fact that fans are still turning out in their tens of thousands home and away despite everything tells you all you need to know. They haven't lost faith, but they are demanding more. More from the boardroom, more from the squad, and more from the identity the club projects both on and off the pitch. So now we wait. We wait to see if Kevin Thelwell will officially be handed the reins. We wait to see who will be tasked with leading the team out next season. We wait to see whether names like Shankland are just rumors or the first signs of a smarter transfer approach. And we wait to see whether this summer will be remembered as the moment Rangers truly turned the page, or just another false dawn. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a buzz sweeping through Govan, and for good reason. Bojan MIOVSKI, the prolific Macedonian striker, has given the nod to Rangers, setting the stage for one of the most talked about transfers in Scottish football this year. After weeks of speculation and mounting whispers around Ibrox, the confirmation has finally landed. MIOVSKI's heading to the Light Blues. It's a signing that sends a message. Rangers aren't here to settle. They're here to challenge, to reclaim, and to roar once more across the Premiership and beyond. MIOVSKI, fresh from a cracking spell at Aberdeen where he notched over 15 goals last season, brings with him a deadly touch, a keen eye for goal, and a sort of presence up top that defenders across the league won't fancy facing. The lad's not just about numbers either. His movement, his hold-up play, his knack for dragging defenders out of position, it all makes him a right handful. Word is the deal came together swiftly once the green light was given. Personal terms? No bother. MIOVSKI was clear about what he wanted. The badge, the fans, the big nights under the Ibrox lights. European football was calling, and he answered. Despite interest from down south and a few other Premiership outfits sniffing about, it's the Rangers who've got their man. Philippe Clement will be delighted, with the squad in need of fresh energy up front and questions still lingering over. Consistency in front of goal. MIOVSKI steps in not just as a striker, but as a statement. He's expected to be unveiled soon, and you can be sure the Union Bears are already planning a proper welcome. Make no mistake, this move turns up the heat. The title race just got that bit tastier. Celtic will have taken note, and the rest of the league will know. Rangers are reloading, and with MIOVSKI in the mix, they've added a proper goal threat to their arsenal. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comment section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.